scared. Today we're going to talk about some of the ways we feel held back simply because we're young. I know there have been plenty of times in my life where I felt like I've been looked down on because of my age, especially when I was in middle school, which I am. So last month, here's an example. Last month I was operating one of the cameras at my church. This is a picture of me on it. It's kind of low quality because it was dark in the room. But I was also doing a camera on the stage. So here is a quick video of that. Let me get this loaded.
You win. Is that camera on?
And that's me on the
It is
camera.
on. Yeah, in that case, if this ticket hasn't switched yet, what up? I don't know, they're paying attention.
There,
Yes,
now
if
I'm
this
live
ticket
for
belongs to
everyone
you,
to see.
all right, I'm going to pick a random one. If it belongs to you, then you're going to win one of the giveaways. There are 3 giveaways, all right? And you're going to find out which ones they are. All right, now I'm going to look that way. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Flawless? Was it flawless? Yeah, that's pretty good, wasn't it? That's because the awesome tech team back there. Can we give it up for the tech team back there? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
So that was a little video from when I was younger. It was actually last month. So yes, I was younger, but it was last month. And after service, one of my friends came up to me and asked, like, are kids allowed to do the cameras like that? And, like, I understand why this person thought that. I'm not going to say who it was because I don't want to make them feel bad. It was okay because, I mean, that's what I thought at first, too, when I saw some of my friends doing it. But I explained to them how anyone can sign up to do it. Never underestimate the power of children. I'm sure you've felt young in some ways before too. Maybe you even feel that way right now. In fact, before we go on, I want you to think of an area in your life where you feel too young, or when someone tells you that you're too young. So I'm going to give you a minute to think of that. You can pause this video if you need right now. Maybe you've been told that you're too young to watch the movie that your older siblings are watching. Maybe you're too young to have social media accounts. Maybe you're not old enough to decide what classes you're going to take or what time your curfew is or when you'll get to date. Maybe you're too young to choose if you want to come to church or what you want to have for dinner or how you will spend your free time. Sure, you might feel like you're old enough to do those things or make those choices, but the rest of the world, well, it's telling you that you're just too young. Too young to do this, too young to do that, too young to decide for yourself, too young to talk about that, too young to be taken seriously, too young to make a difference. Maybe you feel this way when it comes to faith, too. Maybe you think faith is something for grown-ups. Sure, it might be important, but right now it feels like you're a little too young to actually have the kind of faith that everyone talks about. Maybe for you, faith feels complicated and confusing. You're not sure what you think about all this God stuff, but it definitely seems something you're too young to understand right now. Or maybe you've never thought about what you believe before. You've got other things to worry about. Faith is something you might get to later, but for now, you're not thinking about it. Maybe you feel like you're too young to even choose what you believe when it comes to faith. You come to church each week, well, because you have to. Your parents make that decision, so you feel like you're not old enough to choose for yourself. Or maybe you're all in when it comes to faith. You believe in Jesus, you've been following him with your life, you're ready to make a difference. But while you'd like to see God use you for big, amazing things, sometimes it feels like that stuff isn't an option until you get older. Now, can I stop here and remind you of something? While some people might say you're too young, or even you might feel like you're too young, the truth is, when it comes to faith, you're not too young. If there's one thing I know about middle schoolers, it's that you have everything you need right now. To discover more about who God is, to decide for yourself what you really want to believe, to ask questions that challenge your faith, to be used by God for really cool, amazing things, and to grow a faith of your own. See, no matter how old you are or what grade you're in, God believes you're ready to start owning your faith and making a difference. And here's how I know. Years after Jesus lived here on earth, a guy named Paul did all he could to make sure Jesus' message continued spreading. Paul dedicated his life to telling everyone about Jesus and encouraging them to develop a faith of their own. Why? Because Paul understood that knowing Jesus changes everything, and he wanted others to know that too. Of course, sharing the message of Jesus was a really big job, one that Paul couldn't do by himself. So he invited other people to join him. One of those people was a guy named Timothy. As Paul and Timothy traveled together to share the message of Jesus, Paul became a mentor to Timothy. He encouraged and instructed him as a leader, both when they were together and when they were apart. Since texting and DMs weren't a thing back then, that was a long time ago, Paul wrote letters to Timothy to support and guide him in his work when they weren't together. We all know this because those letters can actually be found in the Bible today. So just as Paul encouraged Timothy to own and grow in his faith as a young leader, his letters can encourage us to do the same. So let's take a look at some of the words Paul wrote to Timothy that I think can help encourage us right now. So 2 Timothy 1:5 says, I remember your genuine faith. For you, share the faith that first filled your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice. I know that same faith continues strong in you. Paul is talking about Timothy's genuine faith. Another word for genuine is real. Genuine is the same as real, a real faith. Seems like a cool compliment, but what does it actually mean? You see, in order to really know if something is genuine, you need to look closely. That's exactly what Paul did to discover Timothy's real or genuine. Remember, genuine equals real, and they're looking at genuine faith. Everything Paul saw and heard told him that Timothy had a genuine faith in God. Timothy owned his faith in a real way. And not just that, but Timothy kept growing in his faith, sharing what he was learning about God with others along the way. Paul knew that because of his faith, there was something big that Timothy could do to make a difference in the world around him right then and there. Timothy didn't have to wait until he was older to start. In fact, he was already doing it. What's also cool is that Paul reminded Timothy of the long line of believers he came from, the faith that was modeled for him by his grandma and his mom, Lois and Eunice. First of all, how great are those names? And how great would it be to have a Lois or Eunice in your life? I don't mean just women with epic names, although that would be incredible. I mean adults in your life who show you what a genuine faith really looks like. That is a cool name, but people who show a genuine faith. I know you guys might have thought something else, but not that. Or maybe you wish you did. Maybe you know someone like that already. Either way, I hope you'll come back in the next couple of weeks because we're going to talk about that later on. For today, here's what I want you to know about this. Timothy didn't just believe in the footsteps of the people who came before him. Nope. Timothy made faith on his own. And along the way, God used him to do some really amazing things because of it. But for all the amazing adults and mentors who believed in Timothy, like Lois, Eunice, and Paul, there were just as many who didn't. Not every person in Timothy's life was supportive of his faith. Not everyone believed he had what it took to lead and spread the message of Jesus. You see, Paul put Timothy in charge of a church he had started in a place named Ephesus. I don't know how to pronounce that. But some of the older people in that church didn't value Timothy's leadership because he was young. Because of that, Timothy might have been tempted to think that he didn't actually have what it took to lead, to grow, to make a difference in Ephesus or beyond. That's what makes this message from Paul so important. We're going to read this in 1 Timothy 4:12. Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and all your purity. 1 Timothy 4:12, like I said. Paul knew that people might be questioning Timothy's faith and leadership, but Paul wanted Timothy to understand that it didn't matter. He was not too young to have a faith of his own. He was not too young to influence others to do the same. No matter what his age might have been, what little experience he might have had, or what other people around him might have felt, Paul reminded Timothy that he had the ability to set an example of faith for everyone. In his words, his action, his lifestyle, his faith, Paul encouraged Timothy that he was not too young to decide to grow a faith of his own. And the same is true for you. No matter where you come from, how old you are, how much experience you have in faith, or even what other people say or think about you, remember that you're not too young to have faith in God. You're not too young to be used by God, and you're not too young to make a difference. And of course, you're not too young to be an example. You're not too young to make faith your own. So instead of believing that you're too young to own your faith, this week I want you to begin by believing that you're not too young to make faith your own. And you can start by trying these 2 things. Number 1, be confident in yourself. Today, make the choice to stop believing that you're too young to own your faith. You are capable of learning and understanding more than you ever have before. You can be ready to make a difference right now. So today, you can decide to make faith your own. And that starts with simply being confident in yourself. The second way, do one thing to grow your faith. Start by asking God to help you grow your faith in one way. Maybe that means choosing a good circle of friends that believe in Christ, they don't make bad choices, any of that stuff. Reading the Bible more often, thinking about what you watch or listen to, praying for your family, or prioritizing going to small group. Or maybe it's simply asking questions about God, or starting a conversation with someone you trust about faith. Or just showing up here each week to continue to explore what you believe. Whatever it is, identify just one thing you can do to grow your faith. Then do it. Take one step to grow in that way right now. Because even as a middle schooler, you can make faith your own. So remember, you're not too young to make faith your own. So believe that. Believe that you are capable of a meaningful, genuine faith that can not only change your life, but can change the lives of others along the way. The best news is that you don't have to do this alone. You have your small group and your small group leader to help you. Your small group leader not only wants to be a model of faith in your life, they want to support you as you figure out what your faith really looks like. Your small group is a great place to ask questions and keep this conversation going. As you head out to your small groups, I want you to think about this question. What's one way you want your faith to grow? Now we're going to head to small groups. Now, obviously, since you guys aren't here right now, you're watching this online, we can't do small groups, but if you really want me to, I could possibly, just maybe, do small groups with you. Who likes that idea? Let's do it. So I'm going to give you a couple questions to think about. Now, obviously, we can't discuss this, but you can think about it to yourself. And remember, you aren't too young to make faith your own. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. On a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you wish that you were older? What's one thing you wish you could do now that you'll be allowed to do when you're older? That could be driving, a job, going out by yourself, any of that. How does it make you feel to be treated like you're too young? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you thought about growing in your faith? What do you think it means to own your faith? Why do you think taking steps to own your faith right now matters? How might your faith be different if you saw it as something you were old enough to do right now? So again, since you aren't here, we can't do this together, but I want you to say out loud, whether you're by yourself or with your family, say, I'm, and then say your name, and I'm not too young to own my faith. Do it after me. I'm Cohen, and I'm not too young to own my faith. Good job. That was awesome, guys. So that is the end of Donuts and Devotions for this week. And since you aren't here, you sadly can't play the game. It's kind of sad, I know. But if you come next week, there'll be a new game for you. So have a great week, everyone, and I will see you next week. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of things before we leave, if that's okay with you guys. If you want to lead a lesson for Donuts and Devotions, in Canvas modules, there is a link to do that. I can show you right now. If I go to my Canvas, and then Donuts and Devotions, so on here, this is Canvas. Yep, if you aren't in it, then you can email me My email is on the bottom of the Canvas page, but obviously if you aren't in it, you can't get to it. You can also talk to Miss Kittner, our wonderful sponsor. Thank you, Miss Kittner, for helping us with Donuts and Devotions. If you go to modules, then at the top you will see lead a lesson right here. If you click on this, it's not loading right now, but if you click on that, a Google form will pop up, and on that form you can fill out to be a leader. Also, if you have prayer requests, there's another one right here to submit a prayer request. We won't judge you for it. Just submit it. We'll pray for you. All that. Now, Young Life. That is coming up soon. It is next Friday. Not this Friday, Friday the 18th, next week. But there will be more information right here. I believe this is party number 3. If you click on that, Late Night with Young Life, November 18th. There's the time. We have pizza, games, and a brief talk about Jesus. Then we load the buses. We go to Generations Arcade. Super fun. I haven't been there, but other Young Life leader, Kelton, not Young Life leader, Donuts and Devotions leader, Kelton, he's been there. He says it's really fun. Then we go to the main rink at Notre Dame. Only us there. Skate rental included, there's snacks and drinks. And then we come back home, and it's at 11:30 when we get back. That's a pretty nice time. So, yep. And then also, what's something you really like about Donuts and Devotions? For me, I really like talking about Jesus. But something some other people might like is donuts. If you like donuts, we need donuts. So if you click this right here at the top of modules, there's a link that will take you here and you can sign up to bring donuts. We have a lot of empty slots for the rest of the year. We're going to keep it to about 4 total dozen because we've been having less people. But you can go ahead, do that. Go right ahead. It's up to you. Talk to your parents first though, because we don't want anyone signing up if they can't do it. Now I'm going to pray for you guys. Heavenly Father, thank you for a great week to gather online and praise you and worship you. Thank you for letting us gather here at Discovery and worship you. And please help us to see you today in our lives. Bye, everyone.